Wolverines' John Gabrielson.
Welcome to a wet Wolverine field on this Friday evening. A misty back on the Friday evening, and I don't know why stuff keeps playing in the background other than maybe it's just can't adjust to the temperature change that we have seen here in Fremont County, Bo. And I know you haven't been in Fremont County, but about an hour over the last week. But it's been a temperature change for sure.
Exactly. We went from summer to fall within 1 day's notice. So it's going to be a fun game. It's probably better to have it like this than 100 degrees like it was earlier in the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from the 80-something we kicked off with in Cody last week, a little bit more welcome to this temperature, but maybe not so cold so fast. And welcome to the Porter's Tailgate, and it is Wolverine football here on Jack FM, and we are looking at a situation where these teams haven't met a whole bunch of times, and despite being 3A, this, I believe, is only calling up some stats here because my printouts have decided to leave me from time being, but 13th meeting overall versus Evanston. Riverton does lead the series 7-5, and at home versus the Red Devils, they're 4-2. So Wolverines hoping that holds again here tonight with this. It'll be the 6th year in a row playing after not seeing each other for a span of about 15 years. That was back when they were 5A. If you remember that classification, Brant Nyberg was the head coach back in 2002, and he's an assistant on this staff now. Evanston leads the modern day, the last 5 games, 3-2. That year, Riverton played them twice. Winning both, they would go on and beat Cheyenne East at Tonkin Stadium. You want to talk about cold games. They call that the 5A Consolation Bowl. Everybody in it called it the Toilet Bowl.
Right.
But it was like 17 degrees that day at Tonkin Stadium. And then I remember that day vividly, Derek Watson, Butch Cassidy, those kids. And then I drove as soon as that game was over. It was an afternoon game. I made a pretty good time to Casper to catch Tiffany Weber now with Tiffany Bauer in the state volleyball semifinals that night and broadcast that. So it was kind of a full day and some driving in there, but it was cold on top of it all. Evanston won last year 19-13 in Evanston. Riverton won at home in Troy's first year at 42-14. So in his third year and Jim Burton's fourth year, kind of the rubber match, if you will, a little bit.
Definitely. And these teams have been pretty evenly matched, like you said, over the last few years. And I know Evanston, especially for travel, likes being in 3A instead of 4A because, going from Evanston to Gillette for a Conference 4A game, and then
and maybe having to do that twice with 2 schools up there now.
And then Sheridan, I mean it's brutal for them. It was. So I know they're especially excited to be back in 3A.
Well, and you talk about travel. They are having to go for the 4th week. Well, they'll go 4 weeks in a row on the road. They're putting new turf in at their field, and so they have been out of the home field, if you will, for a while now as they are going road warriors up until they get things going with their turf field. So it is the Wolverines 0-2. It is the Red Devils 0-2, getting ready to square off here in a non-conference 3A battle. This is your Porter's Tailgate Show. We'll take a look at your Wolverine weekend here in just a minute. We'll talk a little cross country. We'll congratulate a winner there. We'll also congratulate 3A East Conference golf champions coming up in just a minute. We'll take a 1-minute timeout in your Wolverine weekend. That's next here on the Porter's Tailgate Show on 105.1 Jack FM, streaming live on the YouTube channel for County 10.
Tires, and more tires. Bailey Tire and Auto Service offers a huge selection, great prices, and fantastic service.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, this is Haley. With over 13,000 tires to choose, Bailey has tires for your ATV, farm implement, car, truck, trailer, semi, lawnmower, wheelbarrow, you name it. If it has a tire, Bailey Tire and Auto Service can fix it or replace it. Bailey Tire and Auto Service is your one-stop complete tire and service shop. Just remember, with Bailey's, there's no tricks, just
Keep it local. Try it on, save time and money on returns, and get advice in person at Bells & Bows. Our business is your best local source for quality clothing like Liverpool and keeping your look fresh every month with our new collections bag. These monthly collections bags feature anything you can imagine yourself in, and the best part is we will ship it everywhere. But if you live locally, we can drop it off right at your doorstep. Bells & Bows, your local solution to keeping you looking stylish for anything that comes your way. Stop in today at 309 East Main Street in Riverton or visit us online at bellsandbows.rocks.
We are back on the Porter's Tailgate, talking a little bit of Wolverine weekend. And first of all, we say a congratulations to the 3A East Golf Conference champions, Lars Flanagan and the RHS boys taking first place there. Parker DeVries, the individual champion, and 7 all-conference kids behind Parker. Kyler Graham was second. Brody Dale was fourth. Hunter Walker was seventh. The girls were conference runners-up. Tylen McDonald was 5th. Annika Stanley was 9th. Aspen Ablard was 10th. The girls improved 31 strokes from day 1 to day 2. So pretty good job by the ladies and the guys. Guys, 3A East Conference champions. The ladies were runner-up in Worland today. Golfing yesterday and today.
Oh, I know. It's amazing what kind of run those guys and girls are having. It's fun to see them compete well, no matter who's on the course with them, and so great to get that conference championship, and sounded like they cruised to victory on the guys' side. Yeah, big win. They were up 40-something, 22 strokes, I think, yesterday, and a lot of that was due to Parker's 12 that he was up individually, and just a great job by Lars Flanagan and the Wolverine golfers in Worland this past weekend. On the cross-country side of things, you're looking at a 3-time champion now in that kid, that Caden Chatfield kid. He wins another one as he goes out there and he wins the cross-country event. They ran it at the 1838 Rendezvous site. Normally they run it at the golf course. Used to run it out at the Renegade Golf Course. That's a field now, so not running it out there anymore. But they did run it at the 1838 Rendezvous site simply because there was a college golf tournament going on at the country club this weekend. So, but Caden Chatfield was your winner on the boys' side, clocking a 17:07. Boys' team won it. Jacob Castro was 6th. You're looking at Alex Truax was 10th. Marshall Walton was 11th for the Wolverines as well. And did I mention Jacob Castro? I did, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, Kyler Heil, I missed him. He finished 9th for the Riverton boys who won it. And the cross-country team going to run a pre-state meet tomorrow. They'll do that out at Ethity, and it's kind of a spectacle to see all the teams that are going to be there. They have the traditional warrior give them the start out there. It's a pretty cool sight to see that. That is the state, pre-state, they call it, cross-country going on out at Wyoming Indian. But congratulations to Mr. Chatfield and the Riverton cross-country team on a great weekend so far, with still more to run tomorrow. And those young guys contributing, a couple of those freshmen stepping up and helping, that bodes well kind of for the program, too. That's always good to see those young guys stepping up like that. Riverton volleyball team would knock off Lander last night. First time in a couple of years they've accomplished that. They beat Lander in 4, won the first 2, lost the third in a very close fashion, came back to win the third, the third win in the 4th game to get the W for Coach Kim Davis and the Wolverine volleyball team, as they are now, I believe, 6-5 overall on the season, and they will be off this weekend getting ready for conference play against the Jackson and Star Valley games. I think are the first ones at home coming up here this upcoming weekend. So that is a look at your Wolverine weekend. We'll take a look at some high school football coming up here in just a few. All of Fremont County pretty much has already played except for Riverton and Lander. 2 games last night, 2 games this afternoon. We'll have Jared Anderson get us up to date on that. Let's take a break first, Thomas. 1-minute timeout. We'll come back as the Porters pregame continues. This is Wolverine football on 105.1 Jack FM, streaming live on the County 10 YouTube channel.
Central Wyoming College has a new Bachelor of Applied Science degree in Early Childhood Education.
Being a teacher has always been a dream of mine.
This degree combines the academic, assessment, and classroom management content that students need to be successful in the classroom. Gain knowledge in how young children grow and develop physically and cognitively, and guide them to social and emotional development.
What I really like about the education program here at CWC is that we get a lot of classroom experience.
Make your way at
Elevate Rehab in Lander is a proud sponsor of sports in Fremont County. Elevate offers physical and occupational therapy and specializes in hand therapy. Elevate Rehab also offers one-on-one personalized treatment for every patient. Their dedicated team of highly skilled and specialized therapists will help you on your journey back to better health and mobility. Elevate Rehab, 535 East Main, Suite D in Lander.
Back on your Porter's pregame tailgate show here on Jack 105.1 and streaming live on the County 10 YouTube channel. And like I said, a lot of teams have already played in Fremont County high school football, and Jared Anderson's going to get us up to date on the county side of things from the Jack 105.1 studios.
Hey guys, thanks very much. Yeah, a couple of Fremont County teams were in action last night, and in case you missed it, Shoshone rolled over Grable 53-0. Wind River took care of St. Stephen's 76-6. There were a couple of final scores from earlier today involving Fremont County teams. After the big Wyoming Indian win last week, Chiefs couldn't get it done against Riverside as the Rebels win 48-8. And earlier this afternoon, number 1 in six-man football, Little Snake River down at number 2, DuBois 44-28. Of course, you got Lander at Powell coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. And in the meantime, we'll send it back to Wolverine Field to John and Bo.
Thank you so much, Jared. Back at Jack FM and other activities, I guess, that we'll talk about. Landers at Powell, as Jared mentioned. Worland and Cody could be an interesting matchup tonight. In fact, Worland knocked off Powell last week, and obviously we saw what Cody can do. And Worland-Cody will be an interesting one. I believe they kick off at 7 o'clock tonight. Douglas is at Gering, Nebraska. Wood River, Idaho continues the Jackson versus Idaho teams tour where they mixed in Douglas in that last week. And then I think another intriguing game, and people are going to look at me funny, but Rollins versus Green River. I mean, Rollins knocked off Pinedale last week and got a W and got off the schneid. They ended an 18-game losing streak, beating 2A Pinedale last week. They'll face Green River this week, who has lost 14 in a row. So two teams that know a little something about trying to break streaks and things like that. And they got kind of handled a little bit by Lander last week. Bigger games, 3A, Star Valley and Sugar Salem, Idaho, both unbeaten, and they will play in Idaho this week. So that's where some of those games in 3A stand right now. Fremont County, as we mentioned, Wyoming Indian broke that 16-game losing streak last week, beating Guernsey, but then unfortunately got beat by almost the same score by Riverside earlier today. Some other intriguing games, Cheyenne East versus Thunder Basin. Both teams are 2-0. They'll be at Gillette for that one. And then Glenrock versus Tongue River, a couple of unbeatens in Class 2A, but I don't think either one of them, I think Tongue River maybe is ranked, but I don't think that Glenrock is, but both are 2-0. One last interesting note here to talk about, and that is Buffalo. Buffalo traveling to Loveland, Colorado, where they are going to play Resurrection Christian High School from Loveland, Colorado. Now, Loveland, this Resurrection Christian team, has moved from 2A to 3A in Colorado, and so they're having some scheduling problems because I think they maybe did it in between a reclass cycle and stuff like that, and so they're having problems scheduling. They hosted a team from Florida last week.
Wow.
They'll host Buffalo this week, and then they're going to travel to Katy, Texas next week.
Wow.
So a 340-mile long road trip for Loveland, to Loveland for Buffalo to play tomorrow. So kind of on the interesting side note of things. And Patrick Schmidt of Wyoming-football.com. If you don't know that site, you do need to go and check it out because he does an absolute great job with that website. And that's where I credit most of the stuff that we talk about, but Wyoming-football.com. We are about 15 minutes away from the kickoff of this one as the Red Devils are already on their sideline. Look like they almost are ready to go unless we've got a national anthem coming up here shortly. The Wolverines have not emerged from the locker room as of yet as the rain continues to fall. We're about 48 degrees. I guess the consolation is there's no W word to speak of right now. We'll take the rain, but yeah, keep that other stuff away right now. It's just coming straight down. Almost look like it might break up here looking on the horizon as well as your camera. If you're watching this on County 10, your camera looking at that Evanston sidelines and just kind of the drizzle that is coming down here right now at Wolverine Field.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Again, both these teams kind of see how they handle the ball. Will be a little slick, footing will be a little bit tricky at times. So I anticipate seeing a couple bloopers early, but as a whole, I think it'll be a good night for football with the weather.
We'll talk about that a little bit more after our pregame interview with Coach Troy Anderson. We'll do that next. Let's take a 1-minute timeout. We'll come back, talk with Troy, and then you and I will talk a little more X's and O's after that as we get ready for the start of this one. 15 minutes away, this is the Porter's Tailgate pregame show. You're listening to Wolverine Football on 105.1 Jack FM, streaming live on the County 10 YouTube channel. An interview with head coach Troy Anderson right after this.
Elevate Rehab in Lander is a proud sponsor of sports in Fremont County. Elevate offers physical and occupational therapy and specializes in hand therapy. Elevate Rehab also offers one-on-one personalized treatment for every patient. Their dedicated team of highly skilled and specialized therapists will help you on your journey back to better health and mobility. Elevate Rehab, 535 East Main, Suite D in Lander.
Therapy Group has been a proud supporter of Wyoming athletics for more than 25 years. Locally owned by therapists, Fremont values commitment to professionalism and community. With specialized training and one-on-one service, they get you back to doing what you love. Whether you need rehab for an injury from a sports-certified specialist or therapy from the only certified hand therapist in Fremont County. With 6 locations in western Wyoming, they provide aquatic therapy, dry needling, and women's health therapy. To find out more about Fremont Therapy Group or schedule an appointment, go to fremonttherapy.com.
Back on the Porter's Tailgate, talking with head coach Troy Anderson. And Troy, I guess I'm going to go in 3 parts. And number one is back between the Powell and the Cody game, we had a player of the week for the first game, and then we had one last week. So talk about those 2 players, if you would.
Ryan Cox, we thought played really well. I mean, on the Powell side of the house, put his name up there. Just a two-way guy. We got guys nicked, and he had to carry a big mental load when we lose Jackson, especially on the offensive side. But the kid stepped up really, really well, and he's a sophomore only, so most teams wouldn't look for a sophomore to be a leader and a key player, but that's where Ryan's at. And then Cade last week had a great week. It's hard to tell in game as far as a guy's doing well, but you just don't know how well, right? Until all the numbers come out. And a fantastic week against I don't think it's probable. I think it is the best competition in 3A in the state. So I think it's fantastic, and see how we can spread that around this week. I thought Dom and Derek, maybe if you're not supposed to hedge bets or whatever you want to call it at high school football, but if you're looking for guys for future players of the week, I think you're looking at those guys. They came out and played what we were expecting when we saw late last year out of both those guys.
On that injury front, I know you're all conference linemen, Lyric, out of the hospital back here. Yeah. That's good news. Yeah. How are we on the injury front? Are we getting a little bit more people on the sidelines, or how are we doing right there?
Yeah, I don't know if we're quite there this week, but we're trending into the conference schedule. That's kind of our anticipated return kind of timeline with the Jacksons and the Dravens. I would guess Lyric falls in about that same slotting. I think we get Ryan back this week as everything goes well today. So that really helps. So that's trending well for us to have guys coming back and not catastrophic losses. Those are the ones to do. And then we get them back reintegrated. And I think we have some tune-up possibilities for them. And I think that's what you look for guys coming back.
This is a key game, despite the fact it's non-conference. I think this is a game that, I think you can compete in. I think you can go out and win, and I think you guys think and know that as well. And it's kind of got to be imperative that you do that.
I would agree 100%. That's been the onus. You find these fine lines, and I think it's always been a thing not to have dudes get too much pressure on them. Or at home, I think the home field is a place where that can happen more likely than others. I know as an athlete, I felt more free on the road than I do at home. There's more pressure. But I think we've had a good week. I agree 100% that this is a team we're coming from similar places. Losses look different, so for the casual fan, it's going to look like you're trending, Evanston over Riverton. But 0-2 is still 0-2 in the end of the day, and those non-intangibles play a factor. And so you think that we're home. We've had a good week of practice. We're getting guys back. We're healthy as far as not losing anybody else. And so I think that's what you could look for out of us, is to have a really strong. And historically, the last couple of years, we've been really competitive with each other. So I think you're going to look for a good ball game tonight.
Starts with stopping the run. They were, I think, the top rushing or second best rushing team, which is a little misleading, I guess, considering they didn't make the playoffs. But at the same time, that's what Coach Burton's bringing in here is we've got to stop the run and then see what happens.
Yeah, option football. They have a lot of different variants of option football that they like to access. With option football, you got to take away one of those parts first and then work your way to the next parts. And we've kind of made a decision on who and what we want to try to take away first. And then push that ball to some other places. And, the modern game wants to call it RPO or run pass game, but I think, historically, the option game going clear back to Oklahoma times is something that's always been there. And they handle the ball well, and they've got a very good quarterback that moves well and is a really good athlete and hard to tackle. And they've got some speed on the edge if you don't play discipline football against the pitch man.
Last question, and that can answer for the team. I know that's hard as a coach, but the longer you stay in it, the better, obviously. I mean, if something, you kind of need something good to happen early, I think.
I think that's been conversation around the locker room. We've upped our film session with the boys this week, and I think we'll continue on that trend as well. If you watch any kind of sporting event, that confidence and momentum and those things are really something. You need those things, that big play, a big positive defensive play. We've had some of those in the back end game. I think we want to try to press the issue on the run game and see if we can force something there, or just to have a sustained drive. That would be kind of one of the things that would be good, where you can just start to mentally wear, and that goes back to that run game conversation in the last question, mentally wear down on a team. I think that's the thing. I think that's kind of what they did to us last year. They played option football and they held the ball for a very long period of time. And if you can do that and score against an option team and put them behind the 8 ball a little bit, a lot of times they spend so much time on the ball handling side of the house that they don't have a lot of answers for quick scores.
Wish you the best luck. We'll talk to you when it's over.
Thank you.
You bet. It's head coach Troy Anderson, and he'll be mad when I say happy belated birthday from him for yesterday, but I'm going to say it anyway. Happy birthday, Coach. We'll be back. We'll give you the starting lineups, and we'll kick it off. This is Wolverine football, taking on the Evanston Red Devils, the home opener for the Wolverines here on 105.1 Jack FM and streaming live on the County 10 YouTube channel. I just want to give you a quick programming note. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, we are going to go to a quick break. You'll have to reconnect the stream. We are reconnecting our stream. So once again, just go back, reconnect to your stream if you're watching this on YouTube. on Jack 105.1. We will be back in just a couple of moments.